Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Ashish Sahejpal, Assistant Professor from University Business School, Punjab University, Regional Center, Ludhiana. Today we are going to discuss about the module Data and Information Management under the paper Management Information System. After completing this module, the students will be able to define what is data, how it is different from information, understand the stages involved in conversion of data into information, understand the various stages of data processing cycle and kinds of data processing, classify type of data and information, understand the methods of data collection, understand the concept of data and information management and value of information. Let us first try to understand about data. Computer data is information processed or stored by a computer. This may be in form of text documents, images, audio clips, software programs, or other type of data. Computer data is processed by the computer's CPU and is stored in file and folders on the computer hard disk. So let us look upon how do we define data. Data is lifeblood of an organization as it flows between systems, databases, processes, departments, and carries the ability to make the organization smarter and more efficient. The highest performing organization pay close attention to data. It is the core part of defining, designing, and constructing systems and databases. Data is essential to making well-informed decisions that guide and measure the achievement of organizational strategy. Data is also at the heart of business processes. In today's world, it is equally critical for organization to back up and store historical data for retrieval and safety. Data management is just as important as the means to obtain it. The highest performing organization ensure that their data assets are accessible to the processes and individuals who need it and are of sufficient quality, and it is timely made available and are protected against misuse and abuse. Now we shall try to understand what is information. Information refers to a collection of facts from which inference may be drawn, data as processed, stored, or transmitted. Information is data which is extracted, cleansed, or transferred and presented to draw insights. Information today includes electronic and physical information, that is data, paper documents, electronic documents, audio, visuals, etc. Data is often viewed as the lowest level of abstraction from which information and then knowledge are derived. This could be dramatically represented wherein we could see data which forms the lowest level followed by information, and in applied form we call it as knowledge. Information improves representation of an entity and updates the level of knowledge. It reduces uncertainty and aids in decision making. Now, talking about knowledge, knowledge is explained with reference to information. It refers to the analysis, awareness, or understanding of facts, information, description, or skills which are acquired through experience or education by perceiving, discovering, or learning. So let us now look upon that how the data processing is being done, that is converting data in information. The figure 4 basically describes a raw data that is 16062016, which in itself doesn't carry any meaning. But from this particular data, an information is being extracted. It may be in form of date, that is 16th June 2016. It could be represented in form of time, that is 16 hour, 16 minutes, 16 second, and in money form. That is how the data processing is being done. The data is being converted into an information format. Dear friends, now let us take into consideration certain examples of data processing cycle. The very first example, the examination branch hands over the examination answer sheets to the concerned teacher. The teacher marks the answer sheet and enters corresponding scores on a score sheet subject wise. The teacher calculates the total and average score of each student. A report card for each subject is prepared and a master report sheet is prepared and kept for each student. Let us take one another example of data processing cycle. An organization compiles the data of daily check-in and check-out time of all employees from biometric sensor connected to the human resource database. This device maps the unique fingerprint of each employee with its employee ID. The employee ID further is linked to the employee portfolio with all relevant information of an employee. This is used to calculate the number of hours worked. These details are then fed into a database of employees against their compensation slab. At the end of the month, the salary is computed by totaling the total hours worked multiplied by compensation per hour to credit the salary. Let us take one another example to make the things more clear. The library management system of school and college provides faster issuance and record keeping. Each book carries a unique barcode which is mapped to the database. The database is a repository of total books and those issued with the unique identification of the reader. It carries data of past detail of issue and return dates. The optical reader, it reads the barcode and feeds the relevant information at the time of issuance and due date of returning the book. The sensors can detect any infringement. Let us look at the stages of data processing cycle. The very first stage, it is the collection of data. From collection of data, we move to preparation stage, the input of data, processing stage, the storage, and at the final, what we look upon is output and interpretation. So let us talk in detail the different stages involved in data processing cycle. Collection of data, a very crucial step in the process, since the quality of data collected has a high impact on the output. The collection process needs to ensure that data gathered are both defined and accurate. This stage provides both the basis for what to measure and a target on what to improve upon. Thereafter, the next stage, that is the preparation stage, raw data cannot be used for processing. Preparation stage is the manipulation of data into a form suitable for future analysis and processing. This process includes classifying, coding, rearranging of edited raw data. The next stage, that is of input of data. It is the stage where verified data is coded or converted into a readable form so that it can be processed through a computer. Data entry is done via input devices such as a keyboard, a scanner, or a data entry from an existing source. This process requires speed and accuracy. The data need to follow a predefined format due to complexity and the cost involved. Many businesses tend to outsource this stage. The fourth stage, that is the processing stage, the data is manipulated by sorting, calculating, updating, etc. Usually a set of working procedures or instructions are followed. Many software programs are available for processing large volume of data into a very short period. Thereafter, we talk about the storage stage. This is the last stage in the data processing cycle, where data instruction and information are held for future use. The importance of this cycle is that it allows quick access and retrieval of processed information, allowing it to be passed on to the next stage directly when needed. Every computer uses storage to hold system and application software. Output and interpretation is the stage where processed information is transmitted to the user. Output is presented to the user in soft copy or a report or an audio-visual format. Output needs to be interpreted so that it can provide meaningful information that will guide future discussion, which will guide future decision of the company. Now we'll be looking at the kinds of data processing. The very first remains the manual data processing. Manual data processing is processed manually and no machine or tools are used. All the calculation upon data is performed manually. This is time consuming and slow method and errors may occur. The next is the mechanical data processing. It is processed with the help of a device or a machine. This method is faster, easier, and more accurate than manual data processing. A bookseller can use calculators to speed up his data processing system. There will be less chances of error in calculating the bill. Calculation will be faster with the calculator and easier too. The next level is what we talk about, the electronic data processing. It is the latest and the fastest method of data processing. Data is processed with the help of computer via a set of instructions. This method of data processing is very fast and accurate. Electronic data processing is used in bank and business firms, government offices, colleges, schools, university, businesses, and other institutes. Electronic data processing is being used in almost every field of life. Domino's is the world's largest pizza delivery chain with over 10,000 outlets, serving up millions of pizzas each year. Domino's Anywhere is the pizza maker's ambitious initiative to allow hungry customers to place orders using text, Twitter, Amazon Echo, a car app, a smart TV app, a smartphone app, a voice-activated mobile app, and whatever else they can think of next. This multi-channel approach of interfacing with customer gives rise to the potential to generate and capture a lot of data, which Domino's capitalize on by using it to improve the efficiency of their marketing. Data is captured through all its channels: text message, tweeters, Pebble, Android, Amazon Echo, and then fed into Domino's information management framework. This is mapped with interest data from a large number of third-party sources such as the postal services as well as geocode information. demographics, and competitors' data to allow in-depth customer segmentation and profiling. Information collected through the group's point of sale system and enrichment data can add up to 85,000 data sources in structured and unstructured format pouring into the system every day. This data allows Dominos to tweak offerings at the individual level as well as guide storage towards product and special deals that are most likely to work for their customer base. Domino's serves up a good example for how enterprises can leverage customer data and roll out information that enhance cross-selling and upselling. Let us now throw some light onto the classification of type of data. At the highest level, two main types of data exist: qualitative and quantitative types. A quantitative data deals with numbers and things that can be measured objectively, and dimensions such as height, width, and length. A qualitative data deals with characteristics and descriptors that cannot be easily measured but can be observed objectively, such as texture, attractiveness, and color. When we measure something and give it in a number value, we create quantitative data. When we classify or judge something, we create qualitative data. Quantitative data, what we further have a classification is our continuous and discrete data. A discrete data is a count which involves integers. That is, the number of children in a class is a discrete data. Since we count whole invisible identities, they cannot be stated in values such as 2.1 or 1.6, but whole values. Continuous data, on the other hand, can be divided and reduced to finer levels. For example, measuring the height and weight of a kid at a progressively more precise scales: meters, centimeters, millimeters, and beyond. So height is a continuous data. Qualitative data has further classification: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio data. While classifying or categorizing something, we create qualitative or attribute data. There are four main kinds of qualitative data. First, what we define as nominal. When collecting nominal data, we assign individual items to name categories that do not have an implicit or natural value or rank. Flipping through a box of gems and recording the color of each, that would be a nominal data. This data type is useful in chi-square analysis to see if there are statistically significant difference in the amounts of each color in a box. Nominal scales are used for labeling variables without any quantitative values. That is, labeling of items in a grocery store that are purchased only once in 2 months by customer. Now we'll look upon defining the ordinal data. In this case, it is the order of the values what's important and significant, but the differences between each one is not really known. In this case, the items are assigned to categories that do have some kind of implicit or natural order, such as short, medium, or tall. Another example is a survey question that asks us to rate an item on a 1 to 10 scale, with 10 being the best. That is, assignment of ranks by laundry operators to various detergent brands by order of preference. So now we'll look upon defining interval data. So numerical data in which we know not only the order but also the exact difference between the values. The classic example of an interval is Celsius temperature, because the difference between each value is the same. Interval scales are not perfect. However, in practical, they do not have true 0 point, even if one of the scaled values happen to carry the name 0. And at last, the ratio scale. The ratio of measurement is the most informative scale. It is an interval scale with the additional property that its 0 position indicates the absence of the quantity being measured. You can think of a ratio scale as the 3 earlier scales roll up in one. Like a nominal scale, it provides a name or category for each object. That is, the numbers served as labels. Like an ordinal scale, the objects are ordered in terms of the ordering of the numbers. The example of ratio scale is the amount of money in your pocket right now. Might be 50 paisa, 20 paisa, etc. Money is measured on a ratio scale because in addition to having the properties of an interval scale, it has a true 0 point. If you have zero money, this implies the absence of money. Classification of type of information. The information can be classified in number of ways to provide better understanding. As per John Dearden of Harvard University, information can be segregated on the basis of characteristics, application, and management hierarchy. So let us first try to understand the segregation on the basis of characteristics. Action versus non-action information. The information which induce action is called action information. Out of stock reports calling a purchase action to be initiated as action information. The information which communicates only the status is no action information. The gross income statement is an example of non-action information. Then we talk about recurring and no recurring information. The information generated at periodical interval is recurring information. The monthly sales report, the stock statement, the trial balance, etc. are recurring information. The financial analysis or the report on the market research study is non-recurring information. Then the third type is internal and external information. The information generated through the internal sources of the organization is termed as internal information, while the information generated through the government reports, the industry survey, etc. are termed as external information, as the source of the data are outside the organization. Now, on the basis of the application, information can be categorized as planning information. Certain standard norms and specifications are used in planning of any activities. Hence, such information is called the planning information. The examples as such, the specification sheet, the product manual. Then we talk about the control information, reporting the status of an activity through a feedback mechanism is called controlling information. When such information shows a deviation from the goal or the objective, it will induce a decision or an action leading to control. That is, security and tracking systems installed in organization to monitor check attacks by hackers or spammers. Thereafter, what we talk about is the knowledge information, a collection of information through the library records and the research studies to build upon a knowledge base as information is called as knowledge information. The other is the organization information. When the information is used by everybody in the organization, it is called organization information. Product manuals, employee circulars are used by a number of people in an organization. Talking about the functional operational information, when the information is used in the operation of business, it is called functional operational information, that is stock inventory and logistics information. And finally, what we talk about is the database information. When the information has multiple use and application, it is called as database information. Address directories, supplier information, etc. The third type of categorization on the basis of management hierarchy, under which the information can be categorized as supervisory level, middle level, and the top level information. So now look at all these different levels one by one. The very first, what we talk about, the supervisor level. At this level, the personal information needs of staff exist throughout the organization, that is correspondence, reports, and spreadsheets, to ensure smooth flow of information from supervisor level to the top level. A clear and easy to use management information system should be provided to fulfill operational, business, and decision-making goals. The next level, that is the middle level. The middle level is perhaps the most important, as it covers all the information shared within team, divisions, business units, etc. This information may be critical to the day-to-day activities of the group, but of little interest to the rest of the organization, that is project documentation, business unit specific content, meeting minutes, etc. And the final, what we talk about is the top level information. At the top level, corporate information is useful for whole of the organization. This global information is generally well addressed by the corporate intranet. Example of corporate information includes policies and procedures, HR information, online forms, phone directories, etc. An information management solution is essential to be provided for staff at each of the three levels. If corporate solutions are not provided, then staff will find their own solution. This is the cause for poor quality intranet, subsites, and other undesirable approaches. So let us now throw a light on the methods of collecting data. The data collection method used by the analysts are called fact-finding techniques. The choice of method has an impact on the quality of information. Also, the design of data collection method decides the quality of data and information. The methods of data collection and processing becomes a part of the MIS. It is essential for MIS expert to understand the potential problem of biasness, accuracy, precision of various methods along with their application. So now let us look on the different methods of data collection with their example. The very first method, that is observation. This method is most useful when there is a need to actually observe how the documents are handled, how processes are carried out. Observers know what to look for and how to assess the significance of what they observe. For example, a jeweler brand observes trends and preferences of customer and collect data before creating future designs. They are able to analyze the price sensitivity and preferences based on observing trend during a period of time. Another method, that is what we talk about, experiments. The information on a specific parameter can be obtained through a control over variables. The quality of information depends upon the design of experiment. Let us take another example of this method. Using the test marketing method to experiment and check the customer response to a new style of packaging flavored milk, wherein survey is another method of data collection. It enables to cover the interested population on specific aspect. The quality of questionnaire will decide the quality of information. For example, the market survey, opinion polls, and Sensex. That is, survey conducted to check the vaccination status of children below 5 years in a city. So yet another method is what we call the objective estimation. In this method, what we find is that there is absence of all the three above methods. The expert opinion may be called to collect the information. The next is the transaction processing. The data exists but needs a processing and integration for reporting. For example, like sales report, payrolls, visitor count, and the account statement records number of transactions. Yet another method is purchase from outside. Here the data is easily available at a price, may be expensive, and may have a bias depending on the source. For example, market and technological studies reports purchased from market research agencies like Foster Research, that is number of 4G users in Asian country. Then you have secondary reports, publications available. So these are the low cost, but many projects or emphasize one view or the other, such as the government publications, the industry publication, institutional publications such as CRISIL, banks, UNESCO. There are other methods like the government agencies reports, which could be taken into consideration. Like we have the Reserve Bank of India publication, the text publication and reports and other findings. Now we shall look upon the data management versus information management. So data management is largely a subset of information management. It comprises discipline related to managing data as valuable resource. Data management is the process involved in creating, obtaining, transforming, sharing, protecting, documenting, and preserving data. It encompasses file naming, conventions, policies, and practices on creating metadata and documentation for the long term. Data management ensures data in an organization is available, accurate, complete, and secure. Architectures, policies, practices, and procedures that manage the full data lifecycle are developed and executed. The official definition provided by DAMA International, the professional organization for those in the data management profession, is data resource management is the development and execution of architectures, policy, practices, and procedures that properly manage the full data lifecycle needs of an enterprise. Misplacing information is a big problem. Having the right information is not enough. We also need to have it logically and physically organized and easily accessible. Having the right information and being able to get it quickly will increase productivity. Once the information is captured, it must be stored so that people can utilize it and make changes as needed. There is a physical and logical view to this. The physical view deals with how information is stored on storage devices, while the logical view deals with how you arrange information while you are working with it. Hence, the need for information management arises. The information management, it is defined as a program that manages the people, processes, and technology in an enterprise to control the structure, processing, delivery, and usage of information required for management and business intelligence purposes. The organizational structure must be capable of managing information throughout the information life cycle. So now let us look at the value of information. Information has a cost for its acquisition and maintenance. Thus, before a particular piece of information is acquired, decision maker must know its value from an economic, business, technical, and risk perspective. The information has a perceived value in terms of decision making. The decision maker feels more confident when additional information is received in case of decision making under uncertainty or risk. Let us look at the economic dimensions. This refers to the cost of information and its benefits. Measuring cost and benefit of information is difficult because of intangible characteristics of information. Cost of information may include cost of acquiring data, maintaining data, generating information, and cost of communication. Cost related to the response time required to generate information and communicating it. Thus, for system with low response time, the cost is high. The cost depends on accuracy, speed of generation, etc. The value of information is equal to cost to get information, that is the benefits. Business dimensions. Different types of informations are required by managers at different level of management hierarchy, and the information needs at different levels are different. It is because of the fact that the manager at different level are required to perform different functions in an organization. Let us look at the technical dimensions. These dimensions of information refers to the technical aspects of the database. It includes the capacity of database, response time, security, validity, data relationships, etc. And finally, the risk dimensions. Handling too much confidential information requires careful handling, security, and limited accessibility to the right user. This arrangement need various level of security and continued monitoring via hardware and software. So student, let us now summarize what we have learned in this module. In any organization, data is single most critical entity on which the knowledge blocks are built. Information is derived, analyzed, stored, and interpreted from innumerable data sources. In order to get a better grip on the activities of information processing, it is necessary to have a formal system which should take care of handling of voluminous data, confirmation of the validity of data, and transaction and the data processing. Further, apart from merely efficient data storage, quick search and retrieval is equally critical to allow information availability at various levels of the organization. The management information system uses computers and communication technology to deal with these points of supreme importance. Thus, management information system serves as the platform to leverage mission critical information which is processed from data bank of the organization. Thank you.